Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special commentary video, because today we are covering the 10th anniversary broadcast stream because it was a huge one. There's some changes in here that will change the future of Dead by Daylight literally forever and may not save the game necessarily, but at least make it really feel like Dead by Daylight again. So I'm very excited to talk to you about a lot of these changes because a lot of them are positive. There's some ones that I don't really like, and we'll talk about those. But let's go ahead and get into it regardless. You see, the thing is, usually I like to do things in chronological order, in the order in which they happen, but I have to skip to the end here at the very, very end of the stream. They announced that Dead by Daylight is getting a huge graphical update. Like, the game is literally changing to look actually like a modern game for once. And more importantly, at least for me and a lot of longtime DBD fans that have played the game for years and years and years, they're bringing the personality and atmosphere back to maps. We got a sneak peek at what the updated graphics look like, and while I am not too interested in necessarily the game looking pretty and awesome, even though that is a massive boon, that does help, what I love is that we bring back a lot of the atmosphere that DBD lost. A while back, they did what is called Realm Beyond, which is where they reworked all the maps to look more graphically impressive. And sure, the models look better, but overall, the maps lost a lot of their moodiness and personality that make it really feel like you're in a horror experience. Macmillan went from this dark, eerie night blue to just kind of being a washed out forest, and that's kind of it. Coldwind probably got hit the hardest with this. It literally went from this dingy, ruined, rotting old farm map to, well, now it's just nice and sunny, and it's a great, grand, old bright day on Peepaw's farm. I literally brought an example of this on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheMrHeading, when we were analyzing how maps used to look versus now. And I was like, look at Thompson House. It looks like I could pull up a chair up on that porch and chill, compared to how it is back in the day, where if I walked into Thompson House, it's dark and stingy, somebody might knife me on the way in. It looked far scarier. But I am proud and happy to report that they are bringing that atmosphere back to maps and the graphics of Dead by Daylight in general. Ultrawave looks great, but it's not green anymore. They're doing this like kind of like yellowish brown kind of deal with it. I hope they don't stay with that idea. That one's kind of for me, because Ultrawave green. This is how it works. If you want the yellow map, we have Coldwind, so just do that to Coldwind. Do not try to make Autohaven yellow. It doesn't really work. Do not do that. But everything else looks absolutely fantastic, including the updates to the models themselves. Yeah, that's right. All of the models in the game are being updated for like all the characters as well. So Dwight looks better. Kate looks better. The animations are also getting updated as well. They were talking about how they actually have like a muscle and skeleton beneath the models now, so they can more realistically animate them. It is like, it's not just an upgrade. It's like, it's not like old Realm Beyond where it was like, okay, well, the maps are getting a new coat of paint. Like, literally, like, the game is kind of changing from inside and out, not only from the visual department, but the animations. I was pointing this out to chat too. It's like a lot of the objects on the new maps look brand new. Like, there's some of them that are clearly rehashed from the old maps, but like a lot of the cars look like brand new models. So that means they're gonna have to redo a lot of the collision and stuff too, and hopefully it's better this time around. Like, there is a lot to look forward to in this new graphical update. And it doesn't stop there, because in addition to the maps just like looking better and looking cooler, there's also a dynamic weather system that's also coming. It's rain, wind, fog, everything. It looks so good. Lightning and thunder. Oh, it's so atmospheric. It's dripping with personality. And it's something that I've missed from Dead by Daylight for a very, very long time. I was bringing up this with my chat today, but one of the things that I feel sucks about Dead by Daylight is a lot of people will look you in the face and tell you it's a party game, don't take it too seriously. But what they really mean by that is they want to have broken stuff to cheese the game and make you miserable. What I would really love for Dead by Daylight in terms of being more like a party game is stuff like this. If I lose a survivor in the distance because the map is trying to be immersive and foggy, like, I'm a little less mad, because like it's still frustrating in the moment, but I'm like, okay, the game's trying to immerse me, it's trying to give me a fun experience, it's just not really matching my competitive nature right now. Like, it's a lot easier of a pill to swallow than like, oh, well, sprint versus vigil means you can never catch me even though I didn't do anything. Like, that's the kind of like party game stuff that like I'm cool with. Like, if the game's trying to immerse me, it's trying to get me involved, and it's trying to make me feel like I'm actually in this situation, and it comes a little at the expense of my performance, like that's a party mode kind of thing that I'd be like, okay, whatever, man. And not like, oh, well, I have this perk combo that has no counterplay, get dunked on. So I'm far cooler with that. Also, in addition to this, this is amazing, and I'm very, very excited for this. They're going to be doing audio improvements and overhauls across the board, just like how I mentioned that they're probably going to have to, redo a lot of the collision, a lot of these new items and stuff. They are also having to redo audio in the way it works because of all this new graphical update stuff that they are doing. They're going to have to look at how audio goes through a lot of these new objects, these new windows, this sort of thing. So audio is one of those things that bugs out very frequently in Dead by Daylight. It makes me really frustrated. I cannot tell you how many times I am chasing somebody on the other side of the wall, and instead of their audio being muffled, they just get completely silenced for some reason. Like, there's a lot of audio issues that have plagued DBD for a long time, so if they actually finally fix that, that's going to be huge. That's going to be absolutely awesome. And I cannot wait for that if it ends up working out. The sad thing, the bad part of this is that it's not coming out till late 2027. So it's a long time away. It's very, very far off. But honestly, it's something I'm very, very excited for, and it will not only make old players like me excited to feel like I'm playing like old Dead by Daylight with updated graphics, but it's also going to make the game look shinier and newer and look more attractive to people coming in. Hi, Editing Brand here. I realized while editing this video that I forgot to talk about something I was really excited about that they announced. In addition to the graphical update, they also announced that a lot of the older survivors are going to be getting voice lines, kind of like the ones we have for modern survivors like Tari and this such. So I'm very, very excited about that, especially as a Jeff main. I've always been a Jeff main my whole DBD career. Imagining what he sounds like, according to like the modern voice acting that they have for other characters, it's really exciting. So if you play or main an older survivor in Dead by Daylight, they're going to be getting voice lines soon. So that's super exciting and super cool. So yeah, that's awesome. Now I will say that there is kind of like a slightly negative caveat for this. In addition to that, is that like I'm not sure how this game is going to run on much older systems. I know that like Switch, not Switch 2, but Switch 1, Dead by Daylight exists on Switch 1 somehow. And if you've ever played it, you know the graphics are absolutely abhorrent and it barely runs. So honestly, I don't know how they're going to keep Switch as a supported system for Dead by Daylight with these new upcoming graphics. It's not impossible because so I was bringing this up in chat today because a lot of people in my chat were afraid that it's like, oh, well, consoles can just no longer run the game. It's back to being PC only. Like, that's not necessarily the case. Just because graphics increase doesn't mean it's suddenly unavailable to a bunch of other consoles. There's been plenty of games that look like modern games that run perfectly fine on old hardware. Alien Isolation, topical example. Alien Isolation was made in 2014, and it was literally on the PS4 and went all the way back into the previous generation. It was also released on PS3, and that game still looks good today. That game looks like it came out a few years ago, and it came out 12 years ago. So that doesn't necessarily mean suddenly nobody's going to be able to play it, but we have to see how they handle the optimization for sure. It's definitely something to be worried about, but I definitely don't think it immediately counts it out. But that's not where the good news ends. DBD is introducing Sandbox modding. So if you're not aware of that, that is the tools from the devs being handed down to you so you can make fun and interesting game modes of your own volition. This is something that's very historically good in gaming history, as some of our favorite games have been made from offshoot mods made of other people's favorite games that got extremely popular. This also solves a lot of issues that could be happening in the Dead by Daylight space when we start to get burnt out or frustrated at certain aspects of the game. We could just go to a game mode where that doesn't exist. If you just want to play DBD as a fun party mode and somebody makes a prop hunt mode, go play prop hunt. Go enjoy yourselves. Don't ruin the game that we're actually trying to win with your silly, oh, it's only casual, don't try, bro. Just go play prop hunt. Go play prop hunt. But for those of us, for example, I had a funny idea for one of these already. What if we had like a super balance mode that was only D tier killers? So like survivors couldn't get really strong perks, so no sprint burst, no vigil or anything, but you could also only lock in like Trapper or Skull Merchant or like Ghostface. I think that would be a really fun mode to have, just like survivors with balanced perks versus like weak killers, and just like have a relatively normal game that's not cheesy and stupid, and just see how good the game is if you don't have to worry about those things. It's just like the possibilities are just endless. And this is one of those things. I think this is the thing they keep saying, it's like DBD is going to last another 10 years. The graphical thing is definitely a big part of that, but I think this is like the real thing that's going to make DBD actually last for 10 years, because if you get bored of the main mode, somebody's just going to come up with a more fun mode. And as long as they keep supporting that tool, the game really could last forever and ever and ever and ever, because like you can make whatever you want. You can't, like, if you complain about the game, that's just the 1v4 mode, and you can just go play something else. There is a reasonable worry about this, and that being like queue times, where like obviously this is going to split the queue times and people are all playing a bunch of these custom modes and not like the actual like game modes. there is something to be said for that, but on the flip side, if we're improving the graphics at the same time, which is going to allure a lot of new people, maybe we can put a lot of sales out there to get more players in. This is where having a lot of casuals in the game is going to be great, because if we have a lot of people in the game, even if we split queues, it's not going to be as bad, which, like I said, it kind of feeds into itself, because like if the graphics look better, more people are going to want to play, because the game doesn't look like it's 10 years old, because, well, it is. And people are actually going to want to show up and play. So it may not be that bad, but it is something that you should rightfully be kind of worried about, because it's one of those things that we can't make the call because it's a year and some change down the line until this comes out, but it's something to, you know, keep a lookout for. Also, as a little aside, there's also some game modes that they probably made with this tool, I would imagine, that are coming out with this. There's a 1v1 game mode, which is very inspired by the comp scene. So there's going to be a formal 1v1 mode, you know, 1v1 me, bro. You can actually do it without setting up your own custom. There's just going to be a mode for it. So that's cool. And also there's going to be a zombie scenario mode, which sounds really funny. Very immersive if you're playing Nemesis though. So I guess we'll have to see how that goes. But overall, the future of DBD section of this whole 10th anniversary broadcast actually has me moderately excited for the future of Dead by Daylight. I think we still need to worry a lot about, you know, maintaining the balance in the 4v1 mode. And obviously the big thing is the bugs. The bugs, we gotta fix that. If this graphical update does not come with some serious health maintenance on the background, we could potentially introduce like 3 times the bugs with all of this new material. So you gotta be really careful. And I really pray and hope that that has been a serious consideration on the background for behavior as they're working on this new giant update, is that like, hey, whenever we do big updates, especially when it comes to like graphics and graphics engines, usually it breaks the game a significant amount. So hopefully it's something that by now they've realized happens, that they're going to take the initiative to get out ahead of that. Because if not, this could be extremely catastrophic. It could possibly be, this could be one of the best updates to ever hit Dead by Daylight, or it could be one of the worst if it just doesn't work. And that's a little nerve-wracking, but that's just being realistic. It could literally possibly save the game, or it could be the death of the game if it comes out and it just doesn't function. So I really hope they have taken that seriously and tried to get out ahead of that and make sure that the game not only looks better, but on the back end, it's functioning better. Because I was saying this on my stream today, if the game just worked and there was very little bugs, I can honestly deal with the balance being bad for the rest of the game's history. Like sure, it would be frustrating, but at least like when I would tail attack, it would work. At least when I would be listening to somebody on the other side of the wall, I could still hear them. Like a lot of the stuff that agitates me would just not be there. So I really hope that they've thought of this. Now, I'm not going to cover exactly everything that's in this 10th anniversary update, because quite frankly, there's a lot, but I'm going to cover a lot of the things that I think are worth talking about, or at least are neat that I find enjoyable, or things that are bad that I want to rant about. The new Survivor Shane looks pretty cool, pretty awesome. I think it's a good character to match up with the perks that we're getting. Hopefully those are still getting balanced updates, but obviously they're not going to talk about that during the 10th anniversary stream. They're just going to hold that off until either close to the release date or the release date itself. I'm still hoping they adjust those perks that are coming with Shane, but Shane is a very, very cool looking survivor, and also very awesome for more representation as well. We are getting Frank Stone as a chapter finally. I'm not a huge casting of Frank Stone fan, but I know a lot of you guys are, and I'm sure you're very, very happy to hear that he's not going to be just a skin for Trapper. He's going to be his own character, but that, once again, like the graphics update, is not coming out till 2027, so you got to wait a little bit, but I'm happy for Frank Stone fans. The cool thing that I like is that we're getting a mall map, because some of my favorite maps in current DBD are the ones that are still moody and atmospheric like the old maps, and mostly those are relegated to like licensed indoor maps like Midwich that still have dark, eerie lighting and a weird like kind of groove and moodiness to them. And I think the mall, based on the way that they described it, is going to fit that, so I'm pretty excited for that as well. Also, I think there's something really cool about, I think they actually said it on the stream, is like areas that are supposed to be normal that are messed up and scary things are happening. That's why I liked Haddonfield before it went away. That's why I like Midwich, because it's supposed to be just like a school, but it's so messed up and weird that it like messes with you. And I think that like Old Haddonfield's the same way. It's just like a sleepy little neighborhood, but then like there's dark and scary stuff happening. Like it's just like, it's a formula that works. So the mall is a great example of that. The Black Banquet, which is the new event that we are going to be getting for the anniversary, it's one of those things where people are asking me like, how do you feel about it? I'm like, I don't know, because like the presentation is sick. I'll tell you that. The cinematic presentation for the event, awesome, 20 out of 10. But when it comes down to events and event modes, they're just kind of like, how do they play? And I don't really know how it feels to play it until I get my hands on it. I know it's kind of like a bum answer, but it's like, that's just how it is. Like, I don't care if like the event mode looks good. I might look at like a certain decoration and go, oh, well, that's kind of neat. But other than that, it just kind of depends on how it plays. Is it fun to play? Will I play it more than once, or will I go back to 4v1 after I get all my challenges done? You know? So it just depends on how it plays. And concerning how they've been balancing events and stuff recently, looking at you, the blood event with the blood gens, I'm not very optimistic. So I'm going to be cautiously skeptical and wait for it to actually be released to see how I feel about it. And now we're going to be talking about something that I did not like from the anniversary stream, and that being the Ice 9 Kills collab. If you're wondering what was so bad about that, I don't really think you're wondering that, because I'm sure you realized, if you looked closely, that video that they put out almost definitely is made with generative AI. I can't say that for sure, but it very much looks like it. Hints include Dwight looking uncanny, a nurse running, and not only running, but her feet are phasing through the floor the whole time, and Legion's weird little like pallet parry that they do that looked really unnatural. There's a lot of weird stuff in there that doesn't look natural. And why? Wow, you're jumping the gun. Why are you saying generative AI? Well, Ice 9 Kills is known for being AI bros. Last year, they made a advertisement on Twitter. I think they posted around other places too that was made with generative AI. And when people were like, ew, generative AI, they're like, well, we don't pander to Reddit mods and blah, blah, blah. And they got all macho about it and doubled down. So I have a funky feeling that they did that here as well, which is kind of funny because at the beginning of the anniversary broadcast, at least the latter part of it, they were like, no generative AI was used in the making of this broadcast. But I think the workaround is that, like, well, technically they didn't make that part. Ice 9 Kills did. That's their music video and they made it. So technically it skirts around it. But anyways, it looks bad. It looks terrible. I don't know how this got past like the quality checks from behavior. I don't know how they saw their character, one of their original characters in the game. There was one of the first 4 killers that ever hit Dead by Daylight. Literally walking, the character known for floating and teleporting and not walking anywhere, lumbering around like a goofball when they were hunting down the guy. Like, it looks so corny and terrible. How were they like, yeah, we should show that on our 10th anniversary stage. It looks amazing. I don't know how that got past their quality assurance. I do not understand. It looks terrible. It looks bad. And in the past, Ice 9 Kills has been very cringy about defending their Gen AI use. So I don't know. It's kind of like, it was so funny because if you watched the 10th anniversary stream, everybody's cheering at like everything. Even like somebody would say something small like, hi guys, people would be like, woo! Like they would cheer for anything. But when that showed up, people were like, like it was uncharacteristically quiet. And it's because I think people were like, is that really poorly animated, or is that, oh, okay. I think that's what people were realizing. So yeah, screw that noise. That looked terrible. Even if it wasn't Gen AI, which I highly doubt, it looked awful. So yeah, that sucked. Not going to be buying those cosmetics. Speaking of cosmetics, I will likely get though. The Silent Hill outfits look really sick, and the bobblehead nurse for Spirit actually is a really genuinely smart idea, because obviously your brain goes like, put the nurse cosmetic on the nurse character. No duh. But like the way the nurses move in Silent Hill actually does more match Spirit with the way she's like around the whole time, you know? Like it really matches, because that's what the nurses in Silent Hill do. I'm like, oh yeah, that is a better fit. I wouldn't have thought of that. And also she has the little pipe that she uses in the game as her sword. Like it just fits. And I'm like, wow, you knew better than me, Behavior. Good job. Also, there's some other sick cosmetic collabs like Diablo. It's coming to the game. Diablo is very, very awesome, very storied, and very well received for the most part. Gaming franchise known for its kind of like fantasy, but more dark fantasy horror-esque kind of elements, you know, like based around like demons and hell and all that cool stuff. So I think it's a fine fit for a cosmetic collection. The Walking Dead is getting more cosmetic updates with Glenn and Negan coming later this year, which is super cool. But we're back in the good news. We're back with probably the biggest announcement, I think, and I feel, that came through this anniversary stream, and that being, while it's a cosmetic collection, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? You're in Dead by Daylight. we are getting a Scooby-Doo cosmetic collection, starting with Scooby-Doo onesie, a Scooby-Doo onesie on Dwight. And Scooby-Doo is one of the most requested chapters outside of like Friday the 13th that hadn't made it yet, or The Predator with the outro. I'm sad that we didn't get that, but we're not getting it for a while either because they confirmed the other license for the rest of the year, but I'll talk about that when we get to that. But yeah, Scooby-Doo is coming to Dead by Daylight finally, which is super awesome and super great. I didn't think they would do it because it's like a children's property for the most part. It's mostly a children's show, but I think what realistically they're like, okay, most of our fans have grown up watching the show and are now grown up, so have them in your horror game, or at least the cosmetics in your horror game, which I think excellent, awesome, can't wait. I grew up on that show. I still watch it sometimes. Excellent. I'm so excited for it. Also, this is like a really weird aside. And I need you guys to help me with this because my chat was saying that near the end of the stream, they said they're making big gameplay overhauls to like perks and stuff. Like somebody said like, oh, they're reworking the perks. I'm like, when did they say that? Oh, well, they said they're doing big gameplay changes, but they said it for like half a second. I was wrestling with my cat, I think, at the time, so I just like missed it. So I watched back the part of the stream where they said that and I couldn't find it. So if you guys can find for me the part where they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're changing the balance of things, please let me know, because like I can't find that myself. I might just be stupid. I mean, I know I'm stupid, but I want to know if I'm stupid for this reason. So let me know if you guys can refer to where exactly they said that, because I can't seem to find it. So it might be user error, but if they're doing that, that would obviously be cool. And finally, the last big reveal is that we are getting Art the Clown from Terrifier as a chapter. I'm not a huge Terrifier fan myself. Maybe I just need to give him a try again so I can see if it's like for me now, because it was a long time ago. But I know it's, once again, another long requested chapter. So I do think it's really funny because it's one of those things. I was sitting there and it's like a lot of people were really wanting Pennywise, especially after they did that, that really cinematic trailer before the 10th anniversary. And I was sitting there and I was like, you know, a lot of the things that would technically tease Pennywise also work for Art the Clown. And I never thought of that. Like they're both clown based killers in their source material. So like all the things that were counting as clown for Pennywise could also have counted for clown for Art. And that's what it was. And I'm like, you know, we probably should have realized that at a certain point, but oh well, it's still pretty cool it's here. That is not coming with the anniversary stuff though. That's coming as our one remaining licensed chapter later in the year. So like I said, unfortunately, no Yautja this year again. It's making me sad at this point because my three main franchises are Alien, Halloween, and Predator. Those are my top three horror franchises. So I got them. And you won't see this because maybe I'll move the gameplay. I have a lot of alien statues and stuff over here. And then I have the Halloween tapestry. And now I would love to have Predator, but it seems like we're not getting that until at least 2027. And it's just making me sad because I think I would really love to have AVP. That'd make me really happy. And I would be over the moon if you did that behavior. So you should probably do that. Pretty please. And thank you whenever it happens. Yeah, overall, the 10th anniversary stream, if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a solid 8.5 out of 10, because a lot of this is like based on hypotheticals. So like, I can't really be like, well, it's solidly a 9 or 10 because that would be like near perfect for technically a lot of stuff that we don't have yet, which feels kind of like cheesy, right? But overall, all the stuff they've presented looks amazing. We got some amazing cosmetic collections coming. We have a cool new IP with Terrifier coming at the end of the year. We have the super amazing graphical update, dynamic weather, and all that wonderful stuff that's probably going to bring a lot of atmosphere, personality, and immersion back to the game of Dead by Daylight. That's the one I'm most excited for. The game mode thing, if it works out, could quite literally extend the longevity of Dead by Daylight for the next 10 years like they want it to. And that's awesome. The most of the 2 points that, the point and a half that I dinged is, hey, we've given you a lot of crap for the whole Gen AI thing, and you very proudly at the beginning of your stream said, yeah, no Gen AI was used in the production of this. And then you just had proud AI supporters as your next collab, and then put a music video that's like with 99% certainty has Gen AI in it on your main stage. So you're sending mixed messages at this point. So I would clear that up. Like, are you for it or are you against it? Because I think I'm confused at this point, because it seems like you really want to be not for it based on what you said at the beginning, and then you did that. So it doesn't really add up. And that is also added to the fact that, like, yeah, the game balance wise still rough. game bug wise still rough. So there's still a lot of things that are plaguing the game right now. So, you know, we'll have to see how that mixes into all this. I really hope you still have a game plan of some sort to handle that stuff. But in terms of what you presented, it's looking pretty good for the most part. We'll have to see how it plays out, but it's looking pretty good for the most part. What were you most excited for when it came to the 10th anniversary broadcast? Let me know down in the comments below. But that's going to be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing ahead of time. And I will see you in the next one. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.